ignoring hardship or pretending things are easy. It's about understanding that you always have a choice. You can choose to stay stuck, or you can choose to rise. You can choose to focus on the past, or you can choose to build a future. You can choose to give into fear, or you can choose to move forward with courage. The moment you take ownership of your life, everything changes. It won't happen overnight. Shifting from a victim mindset to a victor mindset is a daily practice. It requires awareness, discipline, and the willingness to break free from old patterns of thinking. But once you make that shift, you unlock a level of resilience, confidence, and power that few people ever tap into. You become the kind of person who not only overcomes challenges, but thrives because of them. And when you do that, nothing, not pain, not failure, not adversity, can hold you back. Emotions are the driving force behind every decision, every action, and every result in your life. They shape your reality more than external circumstances ever could. The challenge is that most people allow their emotions to control them rather than mastering their emotions and using them as fuel. Pain, frustration, and fear are powerful energies. But if you don't take control of them, they will take control of you. If you want to turn pain into power, you must learn to harness and direct your emotions rather than being a prisoner to them. Think about how emotions influence performance. A person filled with doubt and fear hesitates, procrastinates, and ultimately stays stuck. But a person fueled by determination and confidence moves forward despite challenges. The same situation, the same obstacles, yet completely different results because of emotional mastery. The most successful people in the world do not live without pain or struggle. They simply refuse to let negative emotions dictate their future. They feel fear, but they act anyway. They experience setbacks, but they don't dwell on them. They train their minds to shift from weakness to strength, from hesitation to action. The key to mastering your emotions is understanding that emotions are created by focus. Whatever you consistently focus on, you will feel. If you focus on what's missing in your life, you'll feel lack. If you focus on what's wrong, but if you focus on what's possible, what you can do, and how you can grow, you will generate powerful emotions like motivation, gratitude, and resilience. This is why two people can experience the same painful event, yet one rises stronger while the other stays broken. It's not the event itself, but how they choose to interpret and respond to it. One of the fastest ways to shift your emotional state is through physiology. Your body and mind are deeply connected, and how you move affects how you feel. If you stand tall, breathe deeply, and move with energy, your emotions will follow. But if you slump, breathe shallowly, and speak in a weak voice, you reinforce feelings of helplessness. The moment you take control of your physical state, you take control of your emotions. That's why world-class athletes, performers, and leaders train not just their minds, but their body. They use movement, breathwork, and power stances to create unshakable confidence, even in the face of adversity. But the ultimate mastery of emotion comes from meaning. Nothing in life has meaning except the meaning you give it. If you assign pain the meaning of defeat, it will break you. But if you assign it the meaning of growth, strength, and transformation, it will elevate you. Every challenge carries within it the seed of an even greater comeback. Your emotions are not your enemy. They are your greatest weapon when used correctly. The moment you learn to command them rather than be controlled by them, you will unlock a level of power most people never experience. And when that happens, there will be nothing stopping you from rising, rebuilding, and achieving the life you were meant to live. Rebuilding yourself after hardship requires more than just hope or motivation. It requires a strategy and massive, consistent action. Many people experience pain, but only a few truly transform their lives because they take deliberate steps to rise from it. Success isn't an accident. Growth isn't random. It is a result of intentional effort, where every small action compounds into massive change. If you want to rebuild yourself stronger than before, you must take control of your actions, design a plan, and execute it with unstoppable determination. The first step in rebuilding is getting absolute clarity on what you want. Most people stay stuck because they only focus on what they don't want. They dwell on their losses, mistakes, and failures, replaying them over and over in their minds. But clarity comes from shifting your focus to where you're going, not where you've been. What does your rebuilt life look like? How do you want to feel? What skills do you need? What kind of person do you need to become? The more vividly you define your vision, the stronger your motivation to take action. Once you know what you want, the next step is to commit to massive action. Small, hesitant steps won't create transformation. You must take bold, decisive action daily, even when it's uncomfortable. If you need to develop new skills, start learning today. If you need to rebuild relationships, take the first step now. If you need to change your mindset, immerse yourself in empowering content, books, and people who uplift you. Your environment is crucial. Surround yourself with those who challenge you to grow, not those who keep you stuck in old patterns. One of the biggest reasons people fail to rebuild is because they wait until they feel ready. But readiness is an illusion. You will never feel 100% prepared, and waiting only reinforces inaction. The secret is to start before you feel ready. Confidence doesn't come before action, it comes from action. The more you do, the more capable you become. Momentum builds through movement. Another key to rebuilding is resilience. Challenges will come. Setbacks are inevitable, but those who rise are the ones who push through, adjusting their strategy instead of quitting. If something doesn't work, try a new approach. If you fall, get back up faster. The strongest people aren't the ones who never fail, they're the ones who refuse to stay down. Rebuilding also requires self-discipline and consistency. It's not about making huge leaps in one day. It's about committing to small, powerful actions daily. A strong body isn't built from one intense workout, and a strong mind isn't built from reading one book. It's the daily habits, the discipline of showing up, even when it's hard, that create real transformation. You have the power to rebuild yourself into something greater than before, but power is only unlocked through action. Not tomorrow, not someday, right now. The moment you decide to move forward, take bold steps, and refuse to quit, you start the process of transformation. The choice is always yours. Will you wait or will you rise? Rising from pain and adversity is not just about overcoming challenges. It's about stepping into a new identity, a version of yourself that is stronger, wiser, and more powerful than ever before. Too many people go through hardships and simply hope to return to how things used to be. But true transformation is about becoming more than you were before. It's about using every struggle as fuel to evolve into a person who can handle any challenge, seize any opportunity, and create a life of purpose and strength. The key to rising is recognizing that your past does not define you, your choices do. Whatever pain you've experienced, whatever failures you've endured, they are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of something greater. The strongest people in the world are not the ones who had the easiest lives. They are the ones who took their pain and turned it into wisdom, resilience, and power. They used their struggles as a launching pad to rise higher than they ever thought possible. But rising isn't passive. It doesn't happen by chance. It happens by intention. You must make a conscious decision to break free from old limitations and step into your potential. This means taking ownership of your life, your mindset, and your actions. No more excuses, no more blaming circumstances, no more waiting for permission. The moment you take full responsibility for your growth, you take back control.
No more excuses, no more limiting ideas, no more sitting around and waiting for people to give us anything. No more. Can someone drop no more in the chat box? Can someone just drop no more in the chat box? No more will we wait for these things. We're going to go out and we're going to get everything that we ever wanted because it's already ours for the taking. Welcome to Coffee and Crypto, everybody. This is another one, episode 257. We have an exclusive interview today with Mr. Billy. All right, Mr. Billy Voir-Barry. All right, I'm really excited. As we wait for him to enter the chat and get here this morning. I wanted to just make sure that we do our usual, right? And we hit the content, outside of the interview today. We're going to also look at content and see what's going on and recently here in the crypto space. What do we have to look forward to today? If you all did not know, today is actually going to be a huge day, okay, for I believe the crypto space. And the reason why is because we have another Sunshine Act meeting. All right, if you all don't know what that is, make sure you look on the SEC's website. But we have another Sunshine Act meeting that is coming up. All right, and it's actually happening today, this afternoon. In the last couple of Sunshine Act meetings, you've had some of the biggest cases against some of the biggest crypto companies be dropped. And we know that one of the last cases right now that we're waiting on currently is that Ripple case. And once Ripple is released, I believe that we're going to immediately see a institutional announcement on a major level. So drop some coffee in the chat box if you all are excited, and no more do we have to continue to wait. I believe that things are about to pick up, and they're about to pick up fast. And the interview that we're going to have today is absolutely incredible and is going to be eye-opening. I need y'all to drop them eye-open emojis. Where them eyes at? Let me get the, look, y'all, I need those eyes. I need those eyes. I need some coffee and some eyes. All right. But I need y'all to go over to the group chats right now. Let's blast this off. Let's get more people live on our YouTube channel. Send this to your friends. Send this to your family members. Send this to our Discord and our Telegram friends and family as well. And let them know. And let's go ahead and let's blitz it, man. All right. I need to see the Discord group blicking real quick. And I can see on my phone. I need to see full involvement from our community right now, because the gentleman that we're about to hear from next absolutely deserves it. All right. When the very first time, I'm gonna tell y'all, the very first time that I met him, it was, I knew he knew something. I was like, man, this man is extremely brilliant. You could just tell from his aura and his energy. And you're going to see that here in a second. All right. The level of confidence. All right. The level of conviction. Right. I believe in conviction. You know, people say all the time, hey, Vincent, you know, they ask me about crypto. I'll start talking about this space, and they'll say, you know what, you with your conviction in your eyes as to what you do, we know that we can believe. We know that at least you've done the research to have that my conviction. And when I tell you that this gentleman right here, Mr. Billy, that's about to come up here in a second, that's why I need you all to light it up, man. I need him to feel the energy. All right, YouTube, I see y'all going crazy right now. I need Mr. Billy to feel our energy right now, y'all. I remember life is energy and energy is life. And you never know how your energy can directly affect the next person energy. So be an energy increase, right? Be an energy increase. You know, we call this show Coffee and Crypto for a reason, right? Hope y'all got y'all beverage of choice this morning, okay? To boost your energy, because life is energy and energy is life. And just like a shot of espresso will get you up in the morning, coffee and crypto is just that for you here in the coffee and crypto space. I am very excited for this morning. You know, the deep dive research, borderline stalking that I did on Mr. Billy. All right, borderline stalking that I did on Mr. Billy was very eye-opening. All right, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos. Right, I've learned a lot about a lot these last couple of days. I've learned a lot about IBM. I've learned a lot about AI. I've learned a lot about cognitive methods. I've just been learning, and now I'm really excited and ready to put it all together here on this call. So without further ado, if you all don't mind, please light us up one more time. All right, because I definitely, and then after we do the interview, y'all know that we're going to go through some crypto news and our updates within the community, especially on our Discord group. We are killing it right now. I don't know if y'all saw. I don't know who's in our Discord group. Drop some coffee if you're in our Discord group. I hope y'all in there by now, okay? Man, listen, we dropped a coin, and shout out to my boy JT, okay? Shout out to JT. I love when we can shout out our community members. All right, my brother JT, he called out a play, okay, for a specific token in our Discord group. All right, Uphold actually just dropped this one, and in 24 hours of us getting into this project, we are currently sitting up well over 120% right now, right? Well over 120%. The project is halfway to a penny now, right? It started at 1/10 of a penny, and now we're halfway to a penny. You know, I've did more than double my investment. All right. I've more than doubled what I originally put in 24 hours. All right. And I'm still getting alerts right now from Uphold that it's still going up another 8%. So shout out to everybody that took the time to get into that project. And listen, I want to encourage and inspire you all to be faster. You know, make sure that you get involved in this space. You know, and before I bring up Mr. Billy, I do want to start this off as always with our disclaimer. Okay, Coffee and Crypto Network. We are a network for entertainment purposes only. So we do not offer financial advice or investment advice live on this show. You can join our Discord group where we do have two other strategists, including myself, my sister Sana, and then my good brother John Jackson. All right, we are leading and trailblazing the way to help you get onboarded in this space of Web3 and blockchain technology. So whether you are a retail investor or whether you are a business owner, this is a show that you can come here and get information. We do our research here, and we want to make sure that you have the research. So again, make sure when you get into any projects that you don't just get in them because you're hearing about them here, but do your research, get with a financial advisor or get with some type of strategist out there that can help you understand this space. With that being said, I'm about to bring up, Mr. Billy, all right? But before, and as I bring him up here to the stage, I want to just tell you all a little bit about this gentleman, all right? Mr. Billy Voir-Barry. I hope I said that right, but we're just gonna call him Billy, all right? Can we drop some Billies in the chat box? Hey, and Craw Billy, I know Craw Billy over there looking like, what's going on now? Hey, all right, we got more Billies coming in, Craw Billy. All right, this is a good thing. All right, so we got we got two Billies now that is a part of our community, and we're really grateful. And I can't wait for you two to definitely meet because I know y'all gonna have one heck of a conversation. All right, but Mr. Billy, all right, is the president and chief esports and gaming visionary officer at Generation Esports. Now, when we take a look at their website here in a few, and his website and all of the things, the projects, the articles that's live there, things that he's doing all over the world. This guy is absolutely global. His business is a global brand. He has spent, he spent close to 11 years at IBM. All right. And in that 11 years, he also served as the CTO, which is the Chief Technology Officer of the IBM Esports and Video Games sector of IBM. Okay, so he was, that is his space. So if you all understand blockchain, today we're going to be talking about GameFi with Mr. Billy. All right. He has enlightened and educated C-suite executives, software and architect, engineer teams all over the world on how to how the benefits of agility and Scrum and to maximize development and ROI in their businesses. He's worked with banks. He's worked with governments. He has worked with large institutions. Hyperledger is something that he was really focused on. You all know we've talked about Hyperledger quite a few times, especially dealing with this ISO 20022 bridge, right? He is the king of IoT. That's what I'm noticing, right? The Internet of Things. And this gentleman was actually in the beginning of Web 1. So we're talking about as a developer, as a strategist, this guy is one of the pioneers to our internet and specifically our esports and gaming world. So without further ado, I need you all to make sure that you go ahead and put some big coffee cups, some big flames, and some big hot energy in the chat box right now for Mr. Billy, as I asked him to come on up, and I've now made him my co-host. So you should be able to just unmute yourself, Mr. Billy, and we can get this call on the road. Welcome in.
Hi. Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Good. I'm really humbled by your introduction. Very humbled.
Oh, thank you, Billy. No, I've done my research, and as I was doing my research, I got very excited. Because I knew that not only would I be able to learn something today, but I knew for a fact that a lot of people are going to be able to learn some things today that they could apply. I've seen that you've been in healthcare. I've seen that you've been in big tech. I've seen that you've been in big data and AI and just all types of spaces. And I believe that with people that have these careers currently, people who have their careers, they'll be able to learn something and how maybe they can advance and bring value to the company that they work at within the space that we all absolutely love, which is blockchain and Web3 and cryptocurrency. So thank you so much. And yeah, we can get this show on the road when you're ready.
Excellent, excellent. Would you like me to go on camera here?
Absolutely. If you don't mind, I would love them to be able to see, put a face with a name.
Okay, let
And
me
I'm
get
going to
myself fired up
ping you.
here.
Thank you so much. And no problem. Let's keep those coffees rolling. Let's keep those coffees rolling. Energy up. Let's keep it hot.
All right, let me turn myself on here.
All right. Yes, sir.
All
All right.
right,
Good to
good, good,
go.
good.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I spotlight you as well. And I'm going to add a spotlight for me. And there we go.
Good
All
morning,
right.
everybody.
Yes, sir. So everybody again, we have Mr. Billy. How do you say your last name? Because
Well, if you grew up in Mississippi or Louisiana, you understand it'd be Louvois. Billy
Voir.
Voir-Barry, French Canadian.
Okay, French Canadian. Okay.
Yep, yep.
Amazing.
So good.
So, yeah, well, I appreciate you, and it's nice to see you again for our next meeting. And from like I said, the first time that we spoke, I was enlightened a lot. I learned a lot. I didn't know how big. I really didn't, and I should have because of the dynamics of what's happening right now. Everybody loves esports and gambling and doing these things on FanDuel and
Hmm.
prize picks and just to see how when I was on your YouTube channel, just looking at some older stuff from 7, 8 years ago that you did on stage, to see how far this industry has come now that my mind is on it is absolutely mind blowing for me and boggling. So I wanted to first just give you opportunity to introduce yourself, who you are, and how did you get your start in this space kind of in your early career?
Yeah, so great. So again, thank you very much, everybody. It's great to meet. And a little bit about myself. I've been in the technology business, architect, PMO area, probably close to 17 years all in all. Spent many of that time in games and esports, as was mentioned here to kick off here, and also looking at different areas, how to, keep gamers safe, how to protect the industry. For example, those that are in the game space that are watching today, you may have heard of things like Gamergate, right? Or something around that area to keep gamers safe and to look at conversation and to look at how to use technology to do that. Now, to your question about, how did I do this? I've been a gamer since I've been a little tyke, to be
So,
honest, and a little technologist as well. Um, when I was younger, my father worked for Control Data Corporation. Those
yeah.
that are on the phone that may be a little bit older may know who that is, CDC. And when I was younger, my mother used to drop me off at the Control Data Tower headquarters. I live in Minnesota, and Bloomington, Minnesota at the time was headquarters. And so literally, I would play games on the control data mainframes, like Oregon Trail and some other games. That was kind of like my babysitting tool when I was younger. But through the years, I progressed into actually, I want to understand it, how to build it, how to design it, and kind of kept going. And as they say, never look back. Um, Around, I would say 2008, 2009, I started to fall into gaming in business almost by accident. At the time, I was a PMO architect, and this is even before my IBM days.
Mm.
And a couple companies would ask me, "Hey, we have these studios that need some assistance. Can you help us?" So I literally fell into the game world kind of backwards, in a sense, officially in the business and technology side. And then around, I say 2012, that area, I started actually dive into blockchain
Mm.
and actually help with different countries and different areas that wanted to actually expand into blockchain. So I know the podcast is a lot about both the crypto side as well as the blockchain side, very important.
Yeah.
And we can have a good chat about the distinction thereof and keep them focused together. So for example, the picture you see behind me, that's a picture from downtown Belgrade, Serbia, in the Republic of Serbia.
Yeah.
And Serbia reached out to me in 2012 and they're like, hey, we want to do a huge blockchain hackathon for our youth and our
Okay.
community here in the area. And
In
so I literally,
2012.
yeah, it's like, can you come over and help?
Wow. Wow.
So long story short, I literally got permission like at a noon on a Friday, Minneapolis time. I needed to be in Belgrade 1 p.m. Belgrade time on Saturday. So I took a jet from Minneapolis to Amsterdam, then bounced down to Belgrade, and they picked me up and whizzed me off to the university. And as I say, kind of the rest is history. Doing
Yes.
that and looking forward to a great discussion today.
Yes, sir. So I was looking, and I saw back in the late 80s and early 90s, I saw that you were a combat medic.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
and I don't know, just a random, but I think that is very important, because I believe that may be one of the things that developed you into being the man that you are today, was being a combat medic. I just want, because again, people that's catching this show, some of them may be combat medics, or some of them are in
Okay.
the Army or the Navy,
Okay.
right? how
Nice.
how did that beginning help you transition into into the space um of what you do now? Just how was
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. Thanks for asking. So I think, being a combat medic, you have a big responsibility. And those that are with the podcast today probably understand that those have never been in the military may have some sense of what a medic does. But a combat medic's mission statement, if you will, right,
Mm,
is to preserve fighting strength.
mm,
And there have been times where I've had to go, I'd say literally head to head with colonels and first sergeants and master sergeants, different militaries as well, and say, you need to readjust your fighting position, or you need to do this differently based on the role as a medic, right? I remember one example in particular. There was just give you a sense, this is in Panama. We're setting up a combat position. This was during Operation Just Cause. And I had to go to the colonel literally and say, you need to change that combat position. Because what was happening was they were building a combat position right next to some hornet nests, right?
mm.
It had a good strategic view and whatnot. But I'm like, sir, I only have 4 anaphylactic shot kits on me, and we have a battalion of 300 here. So I was trying to enlighten him. I was talking to the colonel. My first sergeant was behind him. He's like, Billy, stop, stop, stop. It's like, but I think, to your point, is like really, you know, learning that responsibility, what you need to do, how to take care of your soldiers, your airmen, and your sailors in
Yeah,
doing those situations. And I
yeah,
think in doing that, it kind of helped me kind of find my ground, so to speak. Because when I first went into the Army, I was I guess, a little flighty in which direction I want to go in life.
yeah,
I was just 20. I was working some odd jobs at factories and
yeah.
a coke processing plant and everything. I was like, this is not going anywhere.
Got you.
So I joined a combat medic. And then also just having that kind of that discipline to take a look at things. Because when you get out of the Army, you're focused. You're like, I'm going to do my degree. I'm going to do this. I'm going to
Yes,
do that. And I think part of it too was, as you can probably tell from our conversation, is that I think I have a lighter soul.
you do.
My soul is filled with some light. And I
Yeah.
think that people recognize that. And they're saying, hey, we need you in this area of technology. We need you in this area of this technology. Because as you mentioned, during my IBM career, many of the C-suite, the executives at IBM said Billy had this very unique ability to talk both to the techies, the architects,
Yes.
designers, as well as a C-suite, which is
Yes.
kind of rare in the technology space.
It's
So I
very
think
it's
all
very
those things
similar.
helped out.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that. It just came to my mind that it was very similar, and not to compare you to anybody because you were Billy, but just some great, like, CEOs and CTOs out there that's even in the blockchain space right now, like a Brad Garlinghouse.
Mhm.
He's very good at speaking the executive talk, but because he comes from the original web one space, industry, he understands that side. And that kind of moves me into my next question for you, which is, so you grew up in the dot-com bubble. You did a
Mhm.
lot of work. I was looking at the years, and it looked like you did a lot of project management and things of that sort for different companies, from Target and a lot of other companies that people would know. However, What was that experience? Not just on the developmental side, but because I'm 32. So when when the World Trade Centers was happening, I was a little kid. I was in elementary school, so
Right,
I don't
right.
know the effects of it. So for someone my age, because we have a lot of millennials and people that are even younger that tunes into the show, and I want to show them how maybe their parents or their grandparents, because they were not in the tech or they were not in that space, they kind of missed out on it. So could you maybe speak toward the what the temperature, I would say, of the world then, and how you think people missed out on the first .com bubble?
Yeah, no, that's a valid question. So think about this is that when we think about the dot-com bubble, I also look at areas such as the Y2K transition, right?
Mm, okay.
And those areas as well to kind of bring those together to paint a picture for those on the podcast today, looking at the ways that technology was changing very quickly. What was happening was that people were trying to get ahead, I think, of themselves a bit too quickly, right? And in my mindset of doing the program management, the project management was kind of taking the train off the tracks, but not turn the engine off, so to speak. Let's
Okay.
bring it into a side yard and discuss what's going on. What are you actually trying to solve with the technology? What are you trying to do with that technology? And that's a big conversation I have to today, even with blockchain. Is like, why do you want to do blockchain? What is it? Because usually when I'm doing blockchain, it's usually around the area of like enterprise businesses and services. So when we're looking at the dot-com kind of bubble in those areas too, people are trying to get ahead of themselves and they didn't have a defined scope. They didn't have a defined business need. It was a cool shiny diamond, right? And
Yeah.
they want
Yeah.
to grab onto that. So folks that may not have experienced the dot-com bubble or even some of the Y2K noise, I'll call it,
Yeah.
was very intriguing because people had to kind of teach themselves to slow down. And I think that also evolved into things like Agile, into Scrum as well, because it
Okay.
taught people is like, we need to understand what we're doing, what we're building, how we're designing it to have the impact, whether it's
Mm,
for the dev team, whether it's for the business, whether it's the consumer, all those aspects that go into it. So I think that's what kind of drove the discipline, post.com and post Y2K. Is that helpful?
that's very helpful. And I'm very interested because I tell people, if I was on an elevator and I was starting at floor 1 and I were going to floor 3, and someone looked at my shirt and it said coffee and crypto, and they
Mm.
asked me a question about crypto. Typically, a new client I meet, I usually turn around and I'll ask them one question. I say, in one word, what would you say blockchain is? So for Billy, in one word, what is blockchain for you?
Yeah. One word.
One
Blockchain
word.
is a combined, defined provenance storytelling database where you can connect with your peers. Simple, very simple.
That was incredible. That was incredible. Well, mine isn't that impressive. My one word is software. And then
Well, let's think about it, right? So, you think about the blockchain with all the things that it can do, right? We talk about immutability, we talk about provenance, we talk about security, we talk about auditing, all those things that go into it, right? So let's bring it down to the game world a bit. It's like
Yeah.
a combined storytelling secured database to connect with your peers, right?
Wow.
Because that's
Yeah.
what you do in a game. We're
That's
all a
what you're doing.
community. We're all gamers.
Wow. So you were able to take something that you already loved, like as a kid, you said you grew up playing games, same as me, right?
Yeah.
But you grew up in the beginning of when games were even created, so it was very intriguing, not just playing, but you were able to find a passion and a purpose from those games. And so that kind of takes me into my next question, which was how were you able to pick your niche within the space with it being so big? So the space of e-gaming and esports is so huge. How are
Yeah.
you able to define down? Because then we get into some things that you've led and you've been a part of, which is like the cloud and cognitive things. I think that's a little bit further down, maybe
Mhm.
the relevant conversation, but we are starting to get into that. So how did you get into this specific niche?
Yeah, no, very good question. So, at the time, I'll tell a story. So, at the time, I was doing some work at Disney. And this is
Okay.
even pre-IBM days.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I noticed that what was going on between it kind of paints a picture to your .com question as well, is that all these different divisions were reporting to Disney, doing all their work, all their input. There are a lot of vendors, quote unquote, running around trying to solve issues. And what I noticed that is that when they're trying to bring these products or these ideas together, there seemed to be a kind of a missing link, so to speak. And so I volunteered to kind of stick my head into one of the ABC game companies that were
Hmm.
going on at the time.
Hmm.
And I guess I really liked it. They said, "Hey, we need that discipline. Please come on over." So I had my day job. I was working for a big division of Disney, and then I went to the Disney Game Studios, right, and helped them kind of solidify that.
Wow.
And so at the same time, they're trying to figure out how do we get into competitive gaming? How do we get into this and this? And I noticed there was a gap in people actually talking about it, helping educate, bring some type of sense to esports. Because at the time, esports was still wild, wild, wild west.
Yeah.
Very wild west,
Kind of
right?
like what we're in right now with crypto.
Yes, exactly, right? Wild, wild west. So in doing that, kind of helping them say, here's what you're going after, here's how you're designing it. And I kind of help them slow things down a minute, like similar to taking the train off the track, but the engine's still running,
Yes, sir.
help them slow down. So when one of the IBM partners was running around the time, he noticed me and said, "Hey, can you come join us here at IBM, do the same thing?" So that's how I got picked up at IBM, literally
Wow.
from an IBM partner who needed the help in the game space. And then what I also noticed too is that there was I don't know if it's a disconnect, but maybe a miscommunication between executives in Fortune 500 businesses and the big businesses and the gaming community. I noticed I can fill that gap up as well with the communication. So that's kind of how it evolved and kept going. And then eventually IBM leadership says, let's put him in this position officially as a CTO, tech lead, Watson guy. They had to park me somewhere. It was like, what do you do with a gamer?
Yeah, yeah, and that's that's really cool. And that's really interesting because I tell you, Billy, man, it's so many questions, right? And I don't think we can get everything in on one episode, but I was trying to think of some of the top questions. Me and Sana came together. She wasn't able to actually be on the interview today, so Sana has some things. I had some things that were interesting to us. And one of the questions that came from Sana that I thought was pretty interesting was, what type of people do you think will be successful in this GameFi space? Because, there are people who are passionate about games that are in our community right now, or that's going to catch up on this video on YouTube or some other social platform. And, what type of person does it take, number one, to be in GameFi? And then number two, my question to you is, are you a developer? Are you a full stack dev? Do you have those certifications? And do you need those to do what you do?
Yeah, good question. Let's start with some of
Two
that early
different
ones.
questions, but
Okay,
yeah.
let me break this down here for us. So in looking at some of the needs and a person, a character, like a persona,
Yes,
someone
sir.
that'd be good at this is that someone that really understands the community, number one, the community, right? So even when I'm talking to business leaders, technologists, if I'm having a conversation at Amazon, Google, if I'm at NVIDIA, right? One of the things I always emphasize is you have to understand the community first,
Okay.
whether it's a blockchain community, whether it's a gaming community, whether it's an esports community, right? Understand the community. I think once you understand the community and how the community interacts and reacts and kind of flows and ebbs, then you can kind of think about some of the technology pieces or the gamified pieces to get those in there. Now, I think once you underline the score of understanding the community, and I think the next step is to understand what do I want to develop to assist the community? What would be something that maybe is a piece that's missing, either in business or gaming or technology? Because to your point, sometimes you can cross that gamify or the gamification, those terms, right, from the early 2000s to
Yes, sir.
gamify business and technology. And in my opinion, my simple opinion, it goes way beyond points and badges, way
Mm.
beyond. you know, because you're looking at things like how to tell a story, how to engage a business, right? Let's take an example, real life example, some projects I'm working on that gamify businesses. Like think of healthcare, right? Modern healthcare. You want to have a presentation or a medical discussion with a doctor. Maybe you're in Dubai, but your doctor is in the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, right?
Mhm.
Can we gamify that conversation to say, I need to look at certain body parts? Can we do 4D? Can we do augmented reality to make that
Mm.
something really real? Another example is, you're working in the oil rig industry, right? A lot of folks are retiring in the oil rig industry and they can't train the youngsters coming on quick enough. So let's gamify that training. Let's teach them the parts of the rig. Let's teach them safety issues. Let's teach them how to do things. Those are all real life gamified issues.
So
So I
these are
think
real
kind of a
world.
good crossbreed is someone that both understands how to tell a story,
Okay.
how to perhaps start to learn, some of the IT, some of the architecture, some of the code, right? Don't have to
Yeah.
be an expert, but I think if you start to learn those things, because you're already coming from the area, understand the community, understand how people engage, how we chat, how we talk, all those things that are very important to the gamer. And then you take that next step is like, what are something that I see that I can bring to the game community that, or what I call the enterprise business using those game things. So let me pause there a second. Now, to your second half of the question is that, so I am a open source certified architect.
Okay.
I'm also a cloud certified architect. Um, I used to be a hardcore coder, probably up until like 2015, 16-ish. And then the architect roles had to take precedence. So for example, during the COVID period, many countries would ask me to go to their country and set up different cloud patterns to accommodate gaming or business during COVID, right? Because as we all know, what happened, a lot of that technology, a lot of the cloud, a lot of development evolved as a result of COVID. So in many cases, I said, "Oh, I need to go to Greenland. We need to set up a new point of presence. I need to go to Guam. We need to do different parts of the world that people have never cloudified before." So those are some things. So that's where I'm at right now. I am a senior architect CTO. I can still get in there and do some DevOps if I need to, or do some C++ here and there, or some Golang, or some Java, or some other
Yeah.
things help with the Hyperledger. But traditionally, I've kind of evolved into that global architect level.
So Hyperledger, and you brought up Hyperledger. So
Mhm.
Hyperledger and IBM, they work. IBM actually, I'm guessing, uses Hyperledger as a connector,
As do many other companies.
as do many
So
other companies.
Hyperledger is not owned by IBM. It
Okay.
is not owned by Amazon or Google, but is part of the Linux consortium.
Yeah.
So all the companies have kind of evolved their talent into building Hyperledger. So technically it's an open source platform, but it
Okay.
still has all the security nuts and bolts of the big companies, like the
Okay.
security of IBM, security of Amazon, security of Google, security of Linux. So it still has a flavor of the open source, but it has a security, what I call sometimes the boring security features that a company that's starting and evolving really needs and really needs. I really talk to that a lot about my blockchain clients.
Awesome. So to me, it sounds like you got to be a developer in some way, not necessarily a developer like developing apps and understanding scripts, but maybe just a great business developer, right? You're great at
Mhm.
developing relationships and understanding people. So those skills, it seems to me, are even more important on the executive, on the CTO side of things than even understanding all of the core technologies. Or maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just trying to see how people, because there are people right now that are in these huge corporations and they're trying to figure out how they can make a transition into some leadership role in blockchain. And I want to encourage them and let them know that, you don't have to understand Java, like you said, and Python and all of these things necessarily. But as you're getting into these roles, certifications, getting the Hyperledger certification and all of
Mhm.
these things are very important. I
Yes,
had
yes.
Okay, I had one more question, and then I wanted to talk about your business. But it was,
Sure.
but the last question that was on the IBM side was just because we have a lot of investors on the show. And there's this one company, and I'm not sure if you ever heard of it before, but it's called Hedera Hashgraph. Are you familiar or ever heard of
I am
Hedera?
not actually. Love to learn about it.
Okay, awesome. Definitely would love to teach you about it. So, the ticker symbol for their governance token is HBAR. Um,
HBAR. Okay.
HBAR, and they're out of Texas. So, with Trump being in office and potentially a 0% tax, and all these things going on with American companies within America, IBM is actually on their governing council. So,
Okay.
they're doing a lot of they're doing a lot of work with NVIDIA. They're doing a lot of
Mhm.
work with Dell. Right now, HBAR is doing a lot of work with Hedera's, the governing council is doing a lot of work with SpaceX and
Hmm.
sending these rockets with SpaceX and WiseKey. I'm not sure if you heard of that, but
Yeah, I'm familiar with that one.
yeah, so it's
I've got
artificial.
that
So
in
those
here.
AI, yeah, those AI satellites. So HBAR is the blockchain. It's not even blockchain, it's hash graph. So it's a whole
Okay.
nother advancement in the space. But I was trying to see if you knew them because the fact that they're IBM's on their governing council. So I was just going to ask you, what do you think, even without knowing the company, why would IBM be interested in being, I guess, on a governing council of an institutional brand like a Hedera hash graph, for instance? What would be the importance of them, sitting publicly on the governing council?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question, valid question. So let me back up. So one of my former CEOs, also a good friend of mine, Ginny Rometty. Those
Okay.
may be familiar with her. She was a former CEO of IBM
Oh wow. Okay.
before Arvind Krishnan came on. And so one of the things that she often did was that she would look at areas where IBM could be on the board that can have a impact, right? So for example, one of the big things that was near and dear to us gamers and educators and technologists, IBM had a program called PTech. And what
Okay.
that simply stood for is that we did a lot of training of youngsters in high school, like junior and senior year high school, where they can learn those hands-on Java, Python, cloud, AI, and learn those skills. And either when they graduate, either go directly into industry or maybe get an advanced, MBA somewhere based on those skills. So that's a big thing of that. So one of the things that's very, I guess, near and dear to IBM is how do I have the impact on the community, right?
Yep. Back to
Is
community.
this company at HBAR is going to have a positive impact on something that's going on? As I recall, Ginny was also a board member on, I think, GM, and looking at some of the advances that GM was doing around education and training and community development. It's like, how do we get the kids from some of the rough neighborhoods of Detroit into GM, right? Those kind of similar things. And those are very near and dear to myself too. So looking at what IBM is doing,
Yeah.
without understanding the business model, I'm assuming they're saying, hey, they're going to be doing something that's very beneficial, to the community, to enterprise business.
Yeah.
We can help get our name put somewhere too. I mean, they like it. They like the slogans. Like, for example, one of the big things I did in my IBM days, which I was very proud of, was closing a huge Overwatch deal with the Overwatch League. Is one of
Yeah.
my
I saw
last.
that. I saw that on your website. Yep.
Yep. And recently, one of my peers that's still at IBM in the sponsorship realm just closed something, I believe, with F1 Racing. That's
Oh
pretty
wow.
big. Yep. Have
Okay.
the
That's
IBM on your
huge.
sweater as a driver, those
Wow.
things. So, no, going to your question, I know I worded it kind of long. I
Oh,
apologize,
it's
but
okay.
those are all impact things, right? IBM's like, let's look at education. Let's look at ways that we can advance some of the technology. Maybe we're going to learn something ourselves as IBMers around some more hyperledger advancements, some more AI advancements, some more Watson advancements, and those things. So it kind of can become a mutual relationship in doing that.
Okay. Well, I love that. It sounds like the education space is going to be obviously extremely huge here in the
Mhm.
years to come.
Yep.
And, obviously, like I told you, our biggest goal here at Coffee and Crypto is to be a premier onboarding experience for all things Web3. blockchain and crypto for both investors and business owners. So I'm really excited to continue to build our relationship with you and your team. And just to speak of your team, seems like you all have an amazing company that has launched, and I've been able to look into it, but generation360.io is the website, everybody. So
Yes.
go over there. What is generation360.io? I kind of have an idea, but I wanted you to tell people. And then my question on the back end of that as well, closing this out here before we may take a question or two if you have time, is what do you all specialize in, and how can someone book you if they need you?
Oh, sure. Yes. So good question. So as you saw the 360, so we are considering ourselves a 360 consultancy around the
Okay.
areas of esports, video games, blockchain, as well as education.
Okay.
So a lot of our discussions are looking at ways that if new countries want to step in, if new cities or municipalities want to step into esports and video games, they'll reach out to us here at Generation. Now, I developed these relationships and I developed all of these updates and I developed these um, nuances to help communicate esports to businesses, if that makes sense, right? So looking at all the different ways that, let me say I'm a community. Maybe I'm a startup community, say in Africa or Southeast Asia, or I'm looking at different areas that, I've heard about this shiny diamond called esports, but how do I step into it? How do I engage? So that's a big part of us. We also do digital transformation for countries. So, for example, countries, cities, municipalities will say, we need to use blockchain, do things around, say, such as safe farming practices or safe lumber practices, or we want to help remove blood diamonds from certain areas. Then we'll
Mm,
go into digital transformation using blockchain for that as well. Um, Also, we do the STEM, STEAM, and education pieces when we're working with these communities and governments, because a lot of people are seeing the light bulb goes on. It's like, the youth already know games. They already know their mobile devices. They're already deep into it. Let's take that a step further and say, let's teach them some of these game skills. Like, for example, those that might be familiar with a good game called Rocket League, right?
mm,
Rocket League, those that play it and know it, there's a lot of physics in that game. And the
mm.
kids may not know it, the youth may not know it, but we can teach them how that physics was developed into the game world. And so the light goes on for the kids. It's like, you're not teaching me boring physics, you're teaching me how to design Rocket League, right? And the light bulb goes on. You can cross a bridge between educators and city leaders and communities in doing that. So that's a big part of our world at Generation.
That's amazing. That's incredible. Some of the things I wanted to just highlight that I saw, I was pretty impressed and pretty excited about, was just some of the work that you all have. It seems like obviously you have a podcast that's maybe launching soon, so people can stay updated, with what you all have going on. But really, the events and entertainment world, understanding how big, we call it like edutainment, right? Education and
Hmm.
entertainment at the
Yeah,
same time, right?
yeah.
And generate. I was trying to figure out more information on what generate was. It seems like you all did your first event, or you've been planning for the event or something. But what is generate, and what's the concept behind that particular concept? I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, so Generate is up and coming. It's going to be something that we're launching here in June, July,
Okay.
around the world. And what Generate is think of it as a huge esports EDM festival that's going to be happening in some of these major cities. So in addition to large competitive gaming activities, with some of the big games, like whether it be like League of Legends, whether it be Rocket League, whether
Wow.
it be COD or others, we're also going to have some entertainment with that, music with that as well. We're also working with several large breakdance groups. They're going to be part of this Generate as well. So we're going to have breakdancing, and as well as some of the professional breakdancers from the U.S. Olympic breakdancing group are going to be part of this. So it'll be a several-day event. We'll have the competitive competition days for the gaming and esports. Then we're going to have the dancing and the breakdancing groups from around the world. They're going to be there. They're part of the kickoff for Olympics for breakdancing.
Okay.
as well as we're going to have the musicians, the festival musicians from around the world that will be coming in for Generate. And we're very excited
And
because
this
the
is going to be
cities
an
are very
in-person.
happy.
This is
I'm
going to be an
sorry.
in-person experience, like.
Yes, it will be in
Oh,
person. Yes.
oh yes, oh yes. Well, I know you're in our Discord group and everything, and I know you're sitting in there. So definitely appreciate having you in there.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure you'll drop the information when time comes, so people can get tickets and be able to come and experience that as well. So yeah, look, we could sit here, I'm sure, for but I want to be mindful because I told you a certain amount of time, and we are actually, I know, a little over, but I do appreciate your
Thank you.
patience with me as I am getting better at my interviews.
Thank
But
you.
yes, so where can people find you? How can people connect with you? I guess, and even if they wanted to, they had questions, they want to book a consultation. Do you have services like that for people?
Yep, yep. Well, very good. All very good questions. So, a couple ways to get a hold of me is that, of course, you can hit me up on LinkedIn, please. If you want to share my LinkedIn link
I'll
in
share
the
it with the
chat,
group.
you can share
Yeah,
that.
I'll put it in it. What I'll do is I'll put your LinkedIn right inside the description at the bottom of the video.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
And so you can also send a contact me form to the Generation website as well.
Okay.
You can contact me on that. Also, we didn't talk much about that. Maybe it's the next discussion. Is that I also do board advising to a startup called GMG. So I'm
Okay.
also a blockchain advisor to that group. You can
What does
also,
that entail? What exactly does that entail? You being a blockchain advisor to the GMG group?
yeah. So this would be a new business that they asked me to come on board as a CTO blockchain advisor. They're a startup. It's based around transparency and consumer protection on the blockchain.
Yes, sir.
Particularly if there's any farmers on our call today, you understand things, a new regulation by the FDA called FSMA
Mm.
204. And what that requires is traceability of certain foods and products,
Oh,
right?
wow.
So we're
Okay.
doing that on the blockchain. We just got the patent pending for our device just this week.
Wow.
We're also at several large conventions, farming conventions this week as well with GMG. And we recently became also an IBM partner at
Oh,
GMG
wow.
as well.
Look at
So
that. So would that be considered a DePIN project, decentralized physical infrastructural network?
yes, yep, it is also on the Hyperledger.
Also a hyperledger. So,
Yeah, but I think when we'll talk further on maybe on follow-up calls or whatnot. But
yeah, would love
as
to.
you guys know, Hyperledger is open source, so it can talk to the big boys like Solana or Ethereum or others, right? So
Yeah.
that's the benefit. But you also got that security. So you can hit me up on GMG if you want as well. In fact, I'm going to a event this Thursday. I don't know if any folks from Minnesota are watching, but there's an event actually tonight here in the Twin Cities called Off-Chain Twin Cities here in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Mm.
And I'll be there tonight as well. So if anybody's watching and wants to meet me, that's where I'll be in Off-Chain Twin Cities tonight.
Okay. And I'm gonna, I mean, if I could be there, I'd be in the Twin Cities myself. That sounds like a lit time. Well,
Yes.
so what we'll do is, Billy, I would love to have another call. We can decide together whether we want to do it here on YouTube. We want to do something that's private for the Discord community, and just have some things like that. I did want to. I don't know if it's okay, but do you have time for one or two questions from someone that's on Zoom?
Looks like I have time for maybe two.
Two? Okay. So y'all might want to raise your hands up fast. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hands. I definitely want to and make the questions quick if you do have them. Definitely want to make sure that we respect that time. So feel free to raise your hands if you have anything. And if not, all right, cool. Well, Billy, meet Billy.
Love it.
Billy, meet Billy. I was
Love
waiting. I was waiting on this one.
it.
Well, what is your favorite? What is your favorite blockchain? I'm sorry. What is your favorite blockchain? That's Sana's question.
Oh, is that what Billy's asking?
No, Sana wanted to know what your favorite question was. But
Oh,
favorite blockchain.
what
But
my favorite blockchain is?
yeah.
Well, I'm a little biased
Uh-oh.
between Hyperledger and Solana, so
Oh, Solana.
I use it a lot in the game space.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I can see that. That's awesome.
All right, Billy, hit me up.
Well, I'm not sure. Hey, great to meet another Southerner down here, from Mississippi. So, some Cajuness. Hey, look, it's very nice meeting you and getting a different perspective. You're kind of how do you say we're not spring chickens, but we're getting into the space. Um, I'm kind of like you in that sense, and to see the knowledge that you have and what you're doing as
Thank you.
as in your age. I went to the Generate website, looked around, looked at some of the projects. I didn't understand any of it, so it'll give me something to do and put another perspective, another middle ager in the space of looking into the things that are upcoming, because we're always, you know they're upcoming. They're
Yeah.
definitely upcoming. It's something that's definitely in place in the world, and a lot of this. I'm not much of the gaming, but I'm into the technology. It looks like that you're presenting. So it's all. Well, I guess we can all find a space for uh, wealth or health or service. I'm very excited. I enjoyed the call very much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for participating with us.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Billy. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. So I think that'll be the only one that we'll take. Just to save the time because we're right at 11 o'clock. So Billy, I want to say thank you so much.
Thank
Our
you.
community really does appreciate you. Looking forward to doing more work with you and learning more as we go. But yeah, is there any words that you would leave people before you get out of here with?
Yeah, yeah. Don't be afraid to explore and fail.
Mm,
Try things. Try it. If it doesn't work, it's okay to fail, right? It's okay to design games or systems or things on your own and try to tinker with things. And because failure only leads to better ideas. So don't be afraid. Give it a try. Give it a try. So that's my word to the wise today.
Well, thank you, Billy. Can we light it up for Billy? Make sure you all at the bottom of this video here on YouTube, there will be a description with his websites, with his LinkedIn, and you all be able to plug into that. Make sure that you all reach out. And if you are in the Minneapolis, Minnesota area tonight, make sure that you all are at the event. And also, if you're in the Atlanta area, tonight we will be at the Atlanta Blockchain Center. Yep. And tonight's going to be a conversation about real world asset tokenization, which is very, very important. So really excited to learn more about that too. So make sure you all, if you're in the city, just even if you're not in those two cities, go on to some of these meetup.coms and stuff like that. And thank you, Billy.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you all.
sir.
Nice to meet. We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. We definitely.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yes, sir. So yes, make sure that you all are plugging into events, things that are happening. All right. Because these events are extremely important, y'all. To go to events in your city and make sure that you are making connections because shout out to Sana, but Sana was the catalyst to that conversation, and she was the catalyst to that conversation. And, and with more of our members and leaders going out to these cities and going to events, we'll continue to meet people that we'll be able to interview and pick their minds here, coffee and crypto, and learn something. So I hope that you all really enjoyed today. Learned a lot. We're not going to have time to go through the crypto education today. However, if you're in the Discord group, y'all, we've been going through so much. I will leave y'all with a couple of things before we get up out of here. Our Discord group right now, you can join our Discord group. I'm going to give you 50% off today only. Okay. And you have to text me if you want 50% off on the monthly, on the monthly price. All right. You're going to want to go ahead and text me right now at 678 678-460-6504. Again, that's 678-460-6504. And you'll be able to connect with like-minded people like myself, Billy, Craw Billy, and so many other amazing people that are in the group. I wanted to just show you all one thing that's really exciting. We called this project, like I said, shout out to my boy JT, but we called this project right here on 48 hours ago, but we were able to buy it on Uphold 24 hours ago, and I was able to catch it way down here. Okay, I was able to catch it at 0.001948, so literally at the beginning. Okay, and if you have not seen it, okay, we're at 0.005 now. We're up 160% in the last 24 hours. Imagine that, y'all. You putting money in. I want you to think about that now. You could put money in, and in 24 hours, your investment's up 160%. Okay, family, if you had to put $50 in, your $50 investment would be worth about $150 to $160 right now. And that means that your Discord group 1 month was paid in 24 hours. You get what I'm saying? Because our Discord group is $50 a month. So I want to put in perspective that, we really get into the money over here, because you could have made your Discord, you could have put $50 in yesterday and made your Discord for 2 months off of one coin. And this is what I'm saying is this is why you want to be inside of our group. This is why you want to be a part of what we have going on here, because we are giving out so many different projects. It ain't even funny. And everything is hitting like them diamonds, okay? That's about to be hitting on our necks in the very, very near future. With that being said, I'll see y'all at the beaches and the banks of the world. I want to say thank you so much for being the greatest part of our show. I'm about to get up out of here and go hit my workout. Y'all know how I like to do. I'm about to go for a run. It's a beautiful day in Atlanta. And I will see y'all tonight at the Atlanta Blockchain Center. If y'all are in Atlanta and you want to come to the Atlanta Blockchain Center, make sure you text me at that number again, 678-460-6504. You can text me ATL to 678-460-6504, and I will send you over the information. And yes, we do have the boot camp tonight, boot camp part 2 tonight at 8 o'clock. I'll be doing it live, direct and in full effect from the Atlanta Blockchain Center, okay? We do not stop. All we do is win. For our Discord group, we do have our 7 o'clock call. So I have a 7 o'clock call, an 8 o'clock call. I'm doing all at the Atlanta Blockchain Center. I will see y'all tonight. And y'all have an amazing day. Thank y'all so much for being here present with us today. And until next time.